Hi, welcome to another episode of Science Made Simple. I'm Firhad and I'm a science specialist here at the Pique Lab. In this video, I'll be analysing a past year examination question from the topic of atoms, ions and molecules. I've placed the question in a handout and you may download it for free by clicking on the link in the description box below. So let's begin. Question 19. The diagram below shows the electronic structure showing the valence electrons of a molecule of compound XY2. What is a compound? A compound is formed when different elements are bonded together. So it shows you elements of X and elements of Y bonded together. Let's do a quick recap about the compounds that you have learned. There is ionic compounds and there is covalent compound. So how do I identify if this compound is an ionic or covalent compound? Let me share with you a trick. If you see in a diagram, electron shells which overlap one another, forming a shared region, those that have shaded in purple, the electrons in the shared space that have shaded in purple, those represents the shared electrons between X and Y. Since electrons are shared between X and Y, that is how covalent compound is formed. In fact, covalent compounds are formed when non-metals share electrons with non-metals. This is different from an ionic compound, which is formed between non-metals and a metal. And do the metals and non-metals share electrons like covalent compounds? No, they do not. The metals do not share electrons with non-metals. The metals actually give electrons to the non-metals. What's the reason why elements give and take electrons or even share electrons with one another? The reason why elements give and take electrons or share electrons with one another is because they want to achieve the full outermost shell. Now, which group in the periodic table has the full outermost shell? Only group 18 has the full outermost shell. So elements in group 1 to group 17, they do not have this full outermost shell and they must bond with one another to get that full outermost shell which only group 18 has. Let's go back to our covalent compound here. How many valence electrons does X have before sharing? Let's quickly circle all the electrons that X have in its outermost shell before sharing. Don't forget the ones which are in the shared region as well. How many electrons did we circle? We circled 6. So that tells me that X has 6 valence electrons before sharing. We can do the same for Y. Let's quickly circle all the electrons that Y has before sharing, including the ones which are in that shared space. So this tells me Y has 7 valence electrons before sharing. How is this information about valence electrons helpful for us? We're supposed to determine the possible identities of element Y and element X. If you look at the periodic table, is it the group or is it the period that tells us the number of valence electrons that elements have? The group tells us the number of valence electrons an element has. If Y has 7 valence electrons, which group does Y belong to? Y belongs to group 17. Since X has 6 valence electrons, which group should X be? X should be from group 16. Now that we've identified the groups that X and Y belong to, we can do some elimination. Now let me give you a moment to refer to your periodic table. If you need to pause the video here, you can do that. If you're back with your periodic table, which of the elements from this list are found in group 16? You have sulfur and oxygen. What about chlorine and neon? Chlorine is in group 17 and neon is in group 18, the noble gases. So in fact, we can eliminate options 3 and 4. Now, if you take a look at element Y, we know we've already eliminated oxygen from group 16 and we are left with chlorine and sulfur, giving us our answer as option 2.
Thank you for watching and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you found this video useful, do give us a thumbs up. If you want to check out the other videos, click on the link on the right hand side. Last but not least, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more interesting videos. Thank you and I see you next time. Bye!